Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Pleasure Practice, where we explore the intricate interplay of emotion and the erotic that is intimacy. Today, we'll be continuing with our Love is a Drug series with a deep dive into b-endorphins. This is by far the episode that I have been the most excited to share with you. It was super interesting to research for me. I feel like personally it's probably the aspect of love and connection that I find myself most prone to be addicted to. So I found it really, really intriguing. I think that a lot of people aren't even aware that this neurochemical is one of the neurotransmitters that plays a role in love and connection. So hopefully you guys enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed researching it. Because some people don't fall in love with fire. They fall in love with the softness and warmth of a security blanket. They don't fall for the thrill or chase the obsession. They chase the relief. That relief has a name: Beta-endorphins. They are the reason that a hug can feel like medicine, sex can feel like therapy, and while some relationships are not thrilling or exciting, you simply can't leave them because your body isn't chasing an intense sensation or even a person. It is chasing relief. Beta-endorphins are your body's endogenous opiates. They're chemicals that your body releases to reduce pain, soften stress, and create a deep sense of comfort and safety. They are like that inner voice that says, "You are okay now. You can finally exhale." They are released in moments like deep laughter, crying and being held, the runner's high, orgasm, affectionate touch, and even emotional bonding post-conflict. And when beta endorphins rise, something important happens. Your nervous system stops scanning for danger. Your body stops bracing, and your mind stops racing. You feel home. This is why the beta endorphin high can be tricky, because comfort can feel like love, and that is where the beta endorphin high can get tricky, because beta endorphins don't just create comfort, they can also create attachment. If someone becomes the person who eases your pain, your brain begins to treat them like a survival resource. Not because they're perfect, and not even because the relationship is a healthy one, but because your brain has learned, when they are here, I don't hurt as much. And that can look like love. It can feel like love, but it is not the same thing as love. Sometimes it is just relief. Beta endorphins are also the big reason why sex can be so powerful. Orgasms don't just release oxytocin or dopamine, they also spike endorphins. This means that sex can temporarily numb anxiety, reduce emotional pain. Quiet, intrusive thoughts, often feelings of loneliness, and create a sense of closeness even when a relationship is actually shaky. So people start using sex as a pressure valve. And if you are not aware of it, you can end up in a loop. You don't feel connected, so you feel distressed. You feel distressed, so you seek sex. The sex brings you relief, but the issue stays unresolved, and so the cycle begins all over again. It becomes a cycle of pain and anesthesia. Pain and anesthesia. There is also a dark side to endorphin bonding, and it is one of the reasons why people often stay far too long in unhealthy relationships. Beta endorphins can in fact bond you with the very person that hurts you. If a relationship is intense, inconsistent, or emotionally chaotic, it produces stress. Stress hurts. Then, when that person returns, apologizes, or gives you affection, your endorphins kick in, and that creates relief. This relief can feel stronger than ordinary love because it's the end of pain. So your brain learns pain, then comfort, then attachment. That is how so many people get hooked on relationships that are not stable. Not because they love the chaos itself, but because their body is addicted to that relief that comes afterwards. So what is the difference between beta endorphins and dopamine? Because there are a lot of similarities in the way that they can cause relationships to function. But I would say that the reason or the motivation behind why someone is chasing the relationship would be different for dopamine versus b-endorphins. Dopamine is the chase, and the endorphins are comfort, or you could even call them the collapse. Dopamine says, I desperately want more. B-endorphins say, I can finally rest. In fact, you could almost say that the two are exact opposites, even though they can produce behavior that looks very similar. And you do need both. But a lot of people confuse dopamine for passion and endorphins for real security. A relationship that has only dopamine will become anxious and obsessive. A relationship that's all endorphins can become sedating, comfortable and safe, but slowly numbing. Comfort becomes complacency when you get stuck, and endorphins can definitely lead to this. When you are constantly being soothed, you stop asking questions. You stop asking, are we growing? Are my needs met? Do I feel chosen or just used to them? Am I safe or am I just numb? Because comfort is not the same as connection, and relief is not the same thing as intimacy. So how do you use this information without getting trapped? You can name what you are actually craving. Before you text, call, or sleep with them, pause and ask yourself, am I craving closeness with this specific person? Or am I just craving comfort or relief? Learn to generate endorphins without another person. If one person is your only source of calm and comfort, is not romance. That is dependency. Endorphins can be supported by movement. Even just a 10-minute walk promotes the release of them. Breath work, laughter with safe people, music, release massage, a deep pressure shower, a weighted blanket, or somatic grounding are all examples of ways that you can get b-endorphins on your own. Finally, use endorphin charged moments to build, not to avoid. After sex, after cuddling, after a soft moment with your partner. That is when your nervous system is open. That is the moment to ask, how do we keep this closeness going outside the bedroom? What do I need from you, and what do you need from me? Because if your only intimacy is chemical, you will feel emotionally hungry, even when you're physically close. So, beta endorphins are a big part of why love can feel like medicine. But medicine is not the same thing as a relationship. So if someone feels like your piece, make sure that they are not just something you use to escape your pain. Because real love doesn't only soothe you, it also supports your growth. And you deserve a connection that feels like calm without costing you your clarity.